Hello and thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, the Global Water Partnership held its 8th annual general meeting here. Tourism officials have high expectations for the current cruise season and will bring you more from the Dominica Association of Teachers annual general meeting. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like. Hurricanes getting stronger and more frequent. Glaciers melting, causing a rise in sea levels. Dry bush burning after a prolonged drought left the bushes vulnerable to fires.
What? No water again?
But listen closely again and you will hear the solutions. People switching to energy-saving light bulbs. People building stronger homes that can withstand hurricane force winds. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Teaching is a rewarding career. This is according to Dr. Morello Joseph, the CARICOM Secretariat's Program Manager for Human Resource Development, who is also a retired teacher. Dr. Joseph made statements to that effect on Wednesday at the annual general meeting of the Dominica Association of Teachers.
It is a major undertaking, and I would like to pause at this time and to say that all of us who are teachers, and all of us who have been teachers, and all of us who plan to be teachers, that being a teacher is something very special. And those of us who are in it or have been in it, we are very, very special persons and privileged to have been involved in such a profession.
Speaking generally about teacher training institutions, Dr. Joseph stated that teachers' colleges do not adequately prepare teachers for what is expected in the classroom setting.
Placing us in front of a classroom to work with students unprepared, and I'll tell you something, going to teachers' college do not adequately prepare any teacher for what they are being confronted with in the classroom. And those of us who have been to teachers' college will understand exactly what I'm talking about. You look at the quality of program that is being offered, the content of the program, and I will get into this in a little while, and look at what we are confronted with in the classroom. There is a major disconnect. A major disconnect. And you wonder why some of us walk away, some of us stay, some of us are frustrated, right? And many who want to get in are afraid to get in because of what they see.
However, Dr. Joseph went further to say that despite negative comments, society should consider the fact that teachers are more than just lecturers since they play major roles in students' lives.
So much has been said over the years about teaching and the teaching profession. But the question remains what it is that we have done as a people, as a nation, as a region, to actually help those teachers who have that mammoth task to perform and who have all these numerous roles to undertake. And you've often heard it said that a teacher is not just a teacher. A teacher is a surrogate parent, a counselor, a lawyer, a nurse, you just name it. And that is a teacher, the various roles that we have to play.
In an earlier interview with GIS News, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit spoke about the importance of the opposition's presence at the OECS Parliament meeting. He says opposition is an integral voice in any democratic discussion, hence special provisions made for Grenada and other countries with no organized opposition parties.
We want to ensure that there's cross-participation, and if you're going to have a regional assembly, it makes no sense only government reps, because you want to be reflective of the parliaments of your country. And therefore, to ensure that there's a reflection of the parliament of our country, we have to ensure that the opposition is there, because they're an important institution, they're an important voice. Even in the cases where you may not have an opposition, as in the case in Grenada, the drafters of the treaty recognize that our constitution does not disallow for a party to win all the seats, as may be the case in Dominica in the future. So it has taken that into consideration, and the head of state would appoint somebody to represent the opposition at the regional assembly. So in Grenada's case, the Governor General is empowered under the treaty to appoint somebody in his own deliberate judgment to represent the quote-unquote opposition in the regional assembly, so that you have the voice of the minority bringing forth to the regional assembly. So the opposition, once you're constructive, you can be important to the future development of the country.
In more news, Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Discover Dominica Authority, Benoit Badwil, says tourism stakeholders can look forward to a productive cruise season this year. Dominica's cruise industry, Badwil says, has been the subject of intense and focused discussion by government and other parties involved. The government official is reporting 37 additional cruise calls this season from Carnival Corporation vessels alone.
From 49 calls this season to 76 calls in 2013-14. The increase in calls by the Carnival Corporation vessels when compared to the previous season, which ends in April of 2013, will register a 94.9% increase for the next cruise season. Again, I say will register a 94.9% increase for the next cruise season 2013. That is, we are moving from 39 calls in relation to Carnival Corporation vessels to 77 calls. So one has to look at the amount of work being done in that area. In terms of passengers in 2013 season, the Carnival Corporation owned vessels will be expecting to move to Dominica some 165,402 passengers as compared to the current season of 97,826 passengers, an increase of about 97.4% or 67,576 more passengers.
Increases in calls are also expected from the P&O and Royal Caribbean cruise lines.
P&O Cruises moved 9 calls this year. Next season, they're going to move 21 calls. And so that is significant for us, because in terms of the number of passengers they moved this year, it was 31,100 passengers. Next season, they're going to move 65,944 passengers. I can go down the line, but I'm saying that in the 2013-14 season, we expect Royal Caribbean as well will increase the number of calls for the next cruise season by 11 calls, which will make their total 47 calls. This will represent 30.6% increase in the number of calls to the island when compared to 36 calls for this season, 2012-13.
These statistics, Badwil says, reflect the amount of work that government has put into attracting tourism dollars for Dominica. Government entered into intense talks with cruise lines when Carnival Victory announced its withdrawal from Dominica in 2010. The Port Authority chief believes those efforts are beginning to pay off.
We see that there is a certain level of commitment in terms of the cruise vessels coming to Dominica and their commitment to Dominica, given the kind of work that was put in terms of the priority site, in terms of the things that Dominica is doing as it relates to the infrastructure that is being put down. Well over $300 million was spent in terms of road improvement. And the cruise lines have indicated to us, based on our discussions, that in fact Dominica is very forward-looking in terms of its approach and in terms of the way it is conducting its business. And so we see the number of passengers that will increase overall. it is projected that there will be a 39.2% growth, or 86,445 additional cruise passengers coming for the next season, as compared to this season at present.
As a result of the anticipated 31.8% increase in cruise ship calls for the 2013-2014 season, tourism officials are also expecting cruise visitors to spend at least US $4.7 million on the island during their visits. Overall, the current cruise ship season is set to be a promising one. In other news, the Ministry of Agriculture is warning that any person who purchases licensable produce from an unlicensed seller or peddler is a criminal offender. This is according to a release referencing Dominica's Sale of Produce Act, Chapter 8202 of 1941. Under this act, all agriculture producers intending to sell their goods must be licensed. Agriculture producers include produce sellers who own land and raise crops for sale like farmers, and produce peddlers who are licensed to sell produce like market vendors. The Ministry of Agriculture is reiterating that persons wishing to purchase agricultural produce from any peddler should witness the peddler's license. If no license is offered, the matter should be reported to the police and the peddler's name and address included. The official license is valid for a year from April 1st to March 31st and must be renewed by April 1st annually. The license is issued solely for domestic use. In other news, Parliamentary Representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Honorable Kelva Daru, says the current administration is committed to the expansion of the St. Joseph community. The St. Joseph MP, during his address to residents at the 20th inaugural meeting of the Village Council, spoke of ongoing developments at Hillsborough Gardens.
We all know that St. Joseph is very crowded, and that is why government has acquired lands at Hillsborough Gardens, over 39 acres of land. And we've already constructed 30 houses up there. And most of the homes have been occupied by young persons of St. Joseph and Lahio. And government is now in the process of spending close to $500,000 now at Hillsborough Gardens to ensure that the roads and the drains are in proper condition for the residents of Hillsborough Gardens. And again, 2 contracts have been awarded to 2 local contractors, Andrew Dennis and Neverson Wade. We know them better as Schuper and Gugu. And they'll be commencing work up at Hillsborough Gardens to ensure that the drainage, the road works up there are in a proper state, so that we can enhance the community. And those of you here in this community who are interested in purchasing land, there's a lot of land available at Hillsborough Gardens. Some of you have already purchased your lots, but there's so much more lots to be purchased. And I'm sure that if you are interested, you can go through the necessary process and ensure that you can acquire a piece of St. Joseph to build your home and to ensure that your family can have a proper dwelling house.
In related news, Minister for Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, Honorable Gloria Shillingford, wants members of the newly sworn-in St. Joseph Village Council to engage residents of the community in plans for the community's development. The minister recommended some guiding principles which she believes should be adopted by the councillors.
Give your best as you commit yourselves to serve your community. Let integrity, selflessness, dedication, and willingness to work beyond the call of duty be your motto as a newly sworn-in council. Most of all, as leaders, be of service to your people, since the greatest of them all is the one who is always of service to mankind. Be an encourager of good and positive things, and maintain transparency, communication, and team spirit in your council and community.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit encouraged the newly sworn-in council to pay attention to the social needs of the youth and the elderly in the community during the council's 3-year term.
We have to ensure that every child attends school and has the means of taking advantage of an education. I want also to pay particular attention to the elderly and the less fortunate in the area of St. Joseph, because oftentimes we pay attention to the physical development, and it's important, as the Member of Parliament said, that we pay attention to the human aspect of development, people, and that's very, very critical.
In more news, efforts are being made to improve access from Gutter to the Bok area. The Dominica Freedom Party in the 1980s attempted to create access between the communities, but over the years that method has proven to be ineffective.
It was built very, very low, and so during heavy rains, water would actually cross over the bridge, thus endangering lives and property. And further down, we had flood waters into that community right at the back there.
Member of Parliament for the Cottage constituency, Honorable Reginald Austri, says through the Ministry of Constituency Empowerment, a project has been developed to bring relief to residents of that area. The project includes the building of a double-lane bridge which will be taller than what currently exists.
The first phase is to establish the bridge and improve on the roadway, and the second phase was to build a retaining wall going towards the west to protect the houses on the west side from flooding, and a small wall going east to protect the buildings on this side of the road. So it's a very important project. May appear to be a small project, but it's a very, very important project, because during the hurricane season in particular, these people live in fear because there's always flooding. And so we're seeking to correct that, and we're hoping that come this hurricane season, the people will feel a little safer and more comfortable in their homes during that particular challenging period.
Residents of the area are very excited about the ongoing project.
It's a dangerous thing. Like when it was before they did that, it's a very dangerous, because anybody could lose their life there. And you know, when children see rivers overflowing, they like to come and play in it. And so the river could sweep any one of them away. Yes, and I already see transport going up. They had to tie a rope on a big tree up the hill and pulling up people to go. So it's really a relief, because it's very dangerous.
The condition here, you know, when rain, nothing can pass. People, transport, nothing. And you know, it was culvert they had there before. So when you see the debris come down and you see block the culvert, nothing can pass. And then, you know, now I see they're doing that bridge. It is very important.
Construction on the first phase of the project will cost approximately $150,000.
Here is low-lying, because you virtually in a lagoon rather than a river. The bottom part is a lagoon where the water hardly flows. And so we had to use offshore marine, civil marine, because they have the engineering competence. We had to use them to take us thus far.
And Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has called on nationals to assist the local police in its fight against crime. The Dominica leader, in his address to residents of St. Joseph on Wednesday, said government is spending a significant amount of resources in its fight against drug trafficking and crime. He explained that criminal activity affects the entire society, so nationals should join the campaign to rid the society of these ills.
This is a major concern for us in the country, because most of the crimes that are taking place in Dominica are associated with trafficking of drugs. We have too many guns, illegal guns in this country, and we have to assist the state, we have to assist the police in fighting this. It cannot be the task of government and police alone. Crime is a societal problem, and it requires a societal response. And therefore, all of us must play our part at every level in fighting this enemy within us, because it is causing government to spend too much of money that we do not have on fighting these criminal activities. And it means therefore that money that we should be using for people's development, we have to divert it to national and regional security. Because security is important in a country. We have to be able to feel safe, to be able to walk the streets of St. Joseph and Dominica at any time of the day or night. And we should not allow anybody to deny us of that right and that privilege.
In more news, the Caribbean arm of the Global Water Partnership held its 8th annual general meeting on the island on Friday. The opening ceremony was attended by members of the media, DOWASCO officials, government representatives, and partners from 35 Caribbean countries and the United States. Global Water Partnership Caribbean, or GWPC, is a regional organization which aims to help Caribbean countries to sustainably manage their water resources. The partnership's approach is a holistic one, an integrated water resources management program. This program operates with the belief that the different uses of water are interdependent and each management decision should take into consideration the effects of each use on the other. Representing the Ministry of Water Resource Management was Permanent Secretary in that ministry, Davis Later.
Climate change has affected even the most remote corners of our planet. It means then that we in the Caribbean are not immune to the impact of the many challenges which threaten our water resources. I note that Global Partnership's vision is for a water-secure world, very profound. Its mission is to support sustainable development and management of water resources at all levels, while the integrated water resource management is the coordinated development and management of water, land, and related resources in order to maximize economic and social welfare without compromising the sustainability of ecosystems and the environment.
Chairman of the Global Water Partnership Caribbean, Trevor Thompson, in his remarks explained that while sustainable solutions must be found for the global water challenges, the first step is cooperation among states.
I wish to take this opportunity to sound the warning to our leaders, to our water professionals, and the general public that our water is a shared resource, and its management needs to take into account a wide variety of conflicting issues. But this provides opportunity for cooperation amongst all of us. According to UN Water, in designating 2013 as the UN International Year of Water Cooperation, the UN General Assembly recognizes that cooperation is essential to strike a balance between the different needs and priorities that share this precious resource so that it is distributed equitably, and we must also use water as an instrument of peace. I believe GWPC Caribbean shares the view of UN Water because promoting water cooperation makes good sense and it is good business for us.
General Manager of the Dominica Water and Sewage Company, DOWASCO, Bernard Etinoff, was chairman of the meeting on Friday. He endorsed the work of the Global Water Partnership.
Many of the activities undertaken thus far are critical and very necessary here in the Commonwealth of Dominica as we move forward. DOWASCO has benefited directly from the work of GWPC, and in 2008, with collaboration with other partners, facilitated a workshop right here at the Fort Young Hotel, at which participants gained a greater appreciation for the concept of Integrated Water Resource Management, IWRM. I believe the presence of GWPC and its activities have gone a long way in creating greater awareness of the vulnerabilities of the region's water resources, especially in the advent of climate change, and the need to manage those resources in a more sustainable manner. It has certainly charted a course that gives emphasis to the Millennium Development Goals and to mainstreaming water education in our region. These are ideals that we all cherish, whether we may be considered water scarce or water blessed countries. Whatever our unique circumstances, it is widely understood that the resource is under threat and needs to be managed efficiently and sustainably.
Trevor Thompson of the GWPC declared his confidence in the experts responsible for the management of the region's water resource. He announced that vigilance is key in water conservation efforts.
And we must not, I wish to take this opportunity to sound the warning to our leaders, to our water professional security. We have to keep ensuring that all we are doing results in its protection and preservation for future generations. Government management of water is not without its problems. However, we do not have a magical solution. But I believe that the people of the Caribbean are truly blessed to have such a group of dedicated, committed, passionate professionals working in the water sector.
The Global Water Partnership, which has over 70 regional partners in 20 Caribbean countries, was officially launched in Trinidad and Tobago in 2004. And that's the English news. Coming up next, why you should stay safe in the sun.
Listen closely and you will hear what climate change might sound like.
$30 for a hand of bananas?
Severe drought could destroy banana plants and drive food prices up.
And now we can see the dead coral reef below us.
Dead coral? I thought it was alive.
No, it's dead. If you look at the pictures, you can see what the coral used to look like.
Oh, wow.
Natural wonders like coral reefs are disappearing. But listen closely again, and you can hear the solution. People disposing of garbage responsibly and not in drains and rivers. People responsibly discarding engine oil. Our climate may be changing, but so can we. Making small changes together can have a huge effect on reducing the impacts of climate change. Act now. Rally, rethink, respond. This message is brought to you by the OECS Secretariat with funded assistance from USAID.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7, Channel 7.
The sun is an important part of our lives. Sunny days have a positive impact on our moods, increase our level of physical activity, and benefit our health by providing our bodies with essential vitamin D. Unfortunately, sun exposure also presents risk factors that can lead to skin or eye damage and even skin cancer, which is why we should take every precaution to avoid overexposure to the sun. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. Friend us on Facebook and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.
Were it not for grace, I could tell you where I'd be, wandering down some pointless road to nowhere, with my salvation up to me. I know how that would go.